Dr. Jessie here with Care for Moms, and I am here with Abby Swandal, licensed marriage and family therapist. And we're going to talk all things postpartum, or not all things, but what it looks like to get help, to seek a person to talk to postpartum. And postpartum being any time after having children, but especially in, I'd say that, that first year postpartum, especially when you're feeling really vulnerable. There's a lot of new, you may not know what to even talk about or ask, but you're feeling a lot. And so we're just going to talk about that. I may or may not ask questions, just depending on where this goes, but I'm going to let Abby take it from here.
Okay, so one of the things that I'm getting trained in right now and have a deep passion for is Somatic Experiencing, which is kind of an embodied treatment of trauma or activation in our nervous system. And so the biggest concept, and what you'll see when I sit down with you in our sessions, is I talk a lot about the nervous system and there being this window of tolerance where we experience emotion and activation in a way, I just explained this to Dr. Jessie, in a way that's easily containable for our bodies. But we also have emotion that can cycle high into this high sympathetic arousal. This is going to look like your panic attacks, your rage, maybe your headaches, maybe your full body sweats. And it also can look like this activation that shows up as kind of a freeze response. This looks like, doom scrolling, binging, your child talking to you, but you kind of just like glazy staring at them. And what we work for in Somatic Experiencing is noticing those areas where we can go from high activation to low activation. And so I want you to experience that high activation, but I work with you in making it, maybe supporting you in being a little bit closer to your window. And then I'm gonna poke you a little bit and get you high again, and then bring you back to this lower space in a way that's comfortable, in a way that's slow. And the goal is to kind of build this window of tolerance. And so, is that okay what I mentioned?
It's beautiful.
There?
And
okay.
One of the neat things that we were talking about prior to filming is just the way that once you learn how to do this, or once you kind of raise your tolerance for learning how to move from activation to kind of this lower space, it stays with you through parenthood. So it's something that you can use and access and have it be a part of your routine, or not routine, but a part of the way that you parent and work with your children for years after you work on it in those early phases of parenthood. It's something that you're always able to access and work on and have as a tool as you move through parenthood.
That's right.
And so I love when mothers can get in for care early, when they can see this in themselves, see that it's something that they want for themselves and for their little one, and they can access this, learn how to use it, and then have that again as a tool moving through parenthood.
That's right.
In saying that, I kind of want to tap on the age range, like when is somebody welcome in here? Can they bring their little one? What does that look like as far as the actual space when you're sitting in here and working together?
So before I go there, if I can kind of touch on maybe what are some indicators that you're experiencing, maybe like postpartum mood disorders, or sort of what we talked about, this pre and perinatal trauma. Is it okay if
Absolutely.
I just
Oh yes. No, wherever you want to go
Okay.
with this. Yeah.
So some good indicators that I think either your body or your child's body has experienced some pre and perinatal trauma is there's going to be this like high level of activation. So what I explained to Dr. Jessie is it's kind of this like buzzing, like I think I did like, you know, where like there's just like noise and it's intense and it's overstimulating, where like you kind of feel that. And sometimes that's coupled with rage, and sometimes that's coupled again with panic attacks, and it's those higher sympathetic arousal spaces. And also we'll just experience this like plummet. And those are good indicators that your body has experienced pre and perinatal trauma, or that your child's body has experienced that when you notice those cycles in them. But the challenging thing about this type of trauma is that usually we don't have language for it, and it's just something that happens to our system. So somebody will sit down with me and they're like, Abby, my child had a temper tantrum at Target and like I couldn't come down, like my body was shaking, I was sweating the whole ride home, like I just couldn't come down from it. And then maybe I had this huge argument with my partner. But those are good indicators that there's probably your body would benefit from coming down from that level of activation a little bit faster. So I can support that in our sessions. But let's say you decide, or if you're having postpartum mood disorder, so intrusive thoughts, I think I also see this when parents are like constantly keeping track of when the last time they fed their child was, what their sleep windows are, or wake windows, diaper changes, like they're tracking everything. So those are good indicators that we would benefit from going from a place of high activation, maybe getting closer to that window, and we'll practice that in session. But I just see adults, so 18 or older, and one of the things that I love to focus on is healthy attachment, attunement, bonding. And so if we're talking about postpartum mamas, like I want you to have your baby with you, right? And so for me, it can be really challenging to find somebody to watch my kids that I trust, that I love, that feels safe, that feels respectful of our parenting style. And if you can't find that, bring your baby. Like we'll work with baby here. And so know that baby's always welcome here. And sometimes I think parents get worried about, well, what are we going to talk about? And I don't want my child to hear that. But what we also know is our child feels what we feel. And so how beautiful for them to be part of your session where you're talking about something that gives you some level of activation, and I stop you and we tune into sensation, and we can look at your baby and explore maybe what they're feeling too. What do you observe in your baby? And then maybe working with you on co-regulating and bringing that buzzing feeling just down a little bit, and then noticing what happens in your baby too. So babies are always welcome. What else did you ask?
That was beautiful.
Okay.
I actually love the way you came full circle on that answer to my question. I think with time being something we have to keep track of here, speaking of keeping tabs on time, I would love, just on a personal side of things, to maybe share your experience most recently, as much as you want to, but just to better understand kind of your world as a mother and your understanding of it both on a personal and professional level.
Yeah, so I have 2 kids, and when I had my last baby, Camden, he's 5.5 months, so it's fresh, I experienced some pretty gnarly postpartum depression, pretty gnarly. And I was very anxious to talk about it because I felt scared by it, and the things that I was experiencing were scary. But I also was like, how can I experience this as a therapist, and who do I go to, and what if this is scary for other people that I'm going to talk to, and what if they respond too big? Like, what if their response is, wow, like, girl needs some professional, my fear was hospitalization. And So what happened is 8 weeks postpartum, I went to my doctor, my midwife, and I explained what was happening. But what I said was, I feel scared by this, but I have these pockets of time where I know that I'm safe. And so I'm going to tell you this, what's happening for me. And I need you to act in a way that isn't dangerous to me. And you're not going to blow this up, right? Like, you're going to hold space. And that's exactly what she did. She said, I've got you, Abby. Like, nothing was too dark for her. And she had me. And I needed her to say that, like, I have you. And so that was this like huge pivot, like shifting point in my postpartum depression, in my relationship with my baby, in my relationship with my toddler, in my relationship with my husband, but more so my relationship with myself, is knowing she's got me. And so I can also have me. And so I think that's what I offer. And that's what I want to continue to offer in this space, is nothing is too scary for me at this point. Nothing's too scary. And I've got you. And that can be guiding you in a text when you're terrified. That can be guiding you with an emergency session. And that can just be guiding you when you're feeling very high or very low. And I'll pillow that for you. And I'll teach you how to pillow it like my midwife, my beautiful midwife, did with me. And so, you know, I think postpartum is a beautiful and scary and intense time. But also what I was saying with when Dr. Jessie and I were talking, I'm very long-winded. I know we have to wrap this up.
This has been wonderful.
But is that I think that is one of the benefits of body work, chiro stuff, craniosacral stuff, what we do, you do at Chiro for Moms, and incorporating. It's not talk therapy, it's more than that. It's like embodied nervous system activation work.
Ooh, that was good.
I need to like piece that apart.
I liked that.
But we work with your nervous system verbally and non-verbally, because we have both of those experiences. And then you do that too, like working with the tissues and the muscular system and all the beautiful things that happen when I'm in your office. And those need to happen postpartum. And I think I feel myself talking too much, and then my throat gets dry and all of those things. So we'll talk about that in your sessions too, is sensation. But that's one of the beautiful things is postpartum, is we need a group of mamas to guide us. Yeah.
I love it.
We got us.
We got us. Thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you.